back to another episode of Game Club. I was going to say DLC. I nearly went in full autopilot there, but it's not DLC because I'm not here by myself. I'm joined by Tim.
Hello.
And Alex.
G'day.
G'day, mate. And we're back with another episode of Mainline. We are going to be talking about Star Rupture. So if you've not played it, seen the game, please be aware of spoilers ahead for 2026's Star Rupture.
Yeah. My God, when was the last time we did a spoiler warning on Mainline?
I know, I keep forgetting. But, before we get going with Star Rupture, we always start with a bit of a brain tickler, a bit of a getting the juices flowing, guys. A bit of an icy break. Some creative juices going. Yeah. What's the best factory game you've ever played? And there's a follow-up question. Tim.
Factorio, obviously.
Alex.
Satisfactory.
And if you were to redesign any factory in the world, what would you be making?
What would I make?
What would you make? Dreams.
I'm trying. Yeah, my dreams come true. No, I'm trying to think of what stuff always breaks or could be better or just feels a bit crap to use to make it to just improve it. Do you know what I would make or remake? And it's very specific. And Alex might agree with me on this. Whatever Steam are doing to make the plastic housing on their hardware, be that the Steam controller or the Steam Deck, it's not good. It feels that the plastic on all Steam hardware I've found feels really cheap. And considering you're paying a premium for that product, I don't like that very much. So
you want to make a factory to make better plastic specifically for Steam?
Yes.
I thought you wanted to make a factory to specifically mold plastic that fits perfectly snug around turtles' necks.
Those are straws, and I can get a handful of those anyway.
So, no, sorry, straws don't fit around turtles' necks.
You're not cramming them hard enough then.
We love the
planet. Get in there!
We love the planet here. Alex, what would your factory do?
I would like to make a factory that makes factories so that I can sell factories on to make money from factories.
So, factory.
And the thing is, if the factory that makes the factories breaks down, it's fine because you've got a factory to replace it.
Smart. Joey, what about you?
I can't argue with that logic. I really like it.
It's like a 3D printer that makes 3D printers.
Exactly. Yeah. It's good. My factory would be for Alex's hopes and dreams.
Good.
He's run out of business very quickly.
He's a dreamer, and he deserves those dreams to come true.
That's the nicest bullshit you've ever said to me.
Good. Right, let's talk about Star Rupture. So Star Rupture came out too soon ago for it to have any awards. Funny that, isn't it? It's developed and published by Creepy Jar and was released into early access on Steam and Steam alone on the 6th of January 2026. So it's been out for sort of 6 months now. We got a copy from our friends over at Terminals. So thank you very much for that. And thank you to Creepy Jar for the review copy. This will serve as a sort of big DLC. Maybe that's why I went into autopilot mode. It's a factory sim / first-person shooter game. And we played it on Steam, so you may have seen our live reactions as we were going. But I'd like initial thoughts on Star Rupture from Alex, please.
This game got touted a lot as a combination between Satisfactory and Helldivers. Now, the Helldivers might be a bit generous. I think the only connection they're making there is there are guns and bugs. But it's... Yeah, I mean... It's early access, so there's not a whole lot at the moment. But it's well made. It's very well optimized. It's got a unique mechanic, which we'll go on to. The gunplay feels fine. The factory building feels good. It's a solid entry, and I mean, obviously, as we've mentioned, if you go into the factory sim genre, you are going against things like Factorio and Satisfactory, which are arguably some of the biggest games in the genre by a landslide, and for very good reason. But this holds its own well against it, I think, and it's definitely one that's more fun to play with friends.
Okay, you did play some solo as well as
I've
what
done
you
some
on stream.
solo and I've done some stream, yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to the differences in a minute. Tim, what did you think?
It's good. It's good. It scratches the factory itch, which is nice. Like Alex said, the Helldivers comparison, that was it in their marketing, or is it what people were touting it as?
I think it was what people were touting it as. I think they leaned into it, but
it's a bit exaggerated. Because Helldivers, the combat and the adrenaline and the chaos is non-stop.
It's very frantic and kinetic, isn't it?
Whereas this is very much like, oh, okay, I need to go out and find some more helium or some more silicon. Oh, there's 2 spiders in my way. It's a good thing I have a nuke to deal with them.
You didn't go where me and Joey went when we streamed just us two.
I got fucked up by a lot of big things in this game, but it feels like the more common run-of-the-mill enemies just die if you look at them. Like and it's not to say, oh, I need the game to be harder, but the thing that drew me in was that Helldivers comparison, because I was like, that's a unique twist. Otherwise, we're just playing Satisfactory again. So I was expecting maybe a little more out of the combat. That being said, the factory stuff I really dig. It's a little buggy. Like Joey and I spent a lot of time optimizing rail lines for shipments into our factory, and just sometimes the rail lines just wouldn't work. For no real reason either, because as soon as you cleared a blockage on the line of like stuff being like, there's an error, everything else will just go through. So it's a little shaky. It's clearly a work in progress, but it's good. It's really good. And the thing that I really dig about it is that there's a bit of an emphasis on the urgency of your power situation. And I'm sure Joey's going to go into this and he gives his detailed thoughts. But every real life 30 minutes, the sun explodes. And you have to get indoors for the entire time that the sun is exploding. Your buildings aren't harmed, which is something of an engineering marvel. But if you're outside, you are going to be tanned, to say the least. And when the sun is done exploding, the world is turned to ash temporarily for like 5 to 10 minutes. Doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're playing a factory game that's all about producing things as efficiently as possible, that is a ton of downtime. And that every half an hour or so, it made things interesting. It made you rely on alternative sources of power and really maximizing your output. It was good. It was a really neat twist, and I dig it.
Good. I'm glad you did. I also enjoyed this game, not as much as I think you two did, though. So I think this game, the factory bit, fun. The killing monsters and spiders bit, fun. The upgrade system, bit less fun, but, necessary. So I get it. I feel like this game was designed and pitched and created to kind of capture everyone. Because, we've all got groups of friends that like different types of games, so you never end up playing with them. And, sorry, I nearly called it Satisfactory then. Star Rupture, you can have people optimizing the base, creating resources. You can have people scouting out the map for where you're meant to go next. You can have people whose sole focus is to kill the monsters. I think in that aspect, it did really well at, giving you a really good, shallow gameplay loop across all of the elements it wanted to do. I just think that it didn't go into enough depth in any of them. So the factory,
mile wide and an inch deep.
Exactly. The factory itself was interesting. There was lots of mechanics to make it nicer. We got like multi-rail systems, so you didn't have hundreds of rails going next to each other. It looked like one rail that carried loads of stuff. Great. But what you couldn't do is you couldn't craft certain items within factories. So when we unlocked machine guns, I thought I'm going to make a massive machine gun bullet factory so we never run out of it. After building everything to put the materials in for the final process to build machine gun bullets, I couldn't find it in the menus. I couldn't find it in the upgrades. I went online and it's like, you can't do that. You can't make machine gun bullets. You could only make pistol bullets. And by that point, we'd outgrown the pistols. There was no point in us doing it. The spiders, the main enemy in the game, there is a infectious spider that explodes when you hit it. Feels sort of ripped out of Halo. There's a mini spider, a big spider, a acid spider, and then like 9 hours in, Alex and I saw a tank spider.
That we never managed to kill.
We didn't manage to kill. And I mean, omitting the tank spider from this conversation, all 4 of those spiders that we ran into kind of time and time again became a little bit monotonous and a little bit samey. Which, you know, is fine if the point is that they're encouraging you to go further from the base, to go further and further and further to allow you to find the tank spiders, maybe some other kind of variants of spiders. We just didn't see them. And then the exploration point, well, it's early access. The map is sort of surrounded in a radiation field that if you go near it, you turn into Swiss cheese in about 10 seconds.
So that is the world border, the radiation?
I believe so at the moment.
Because we couldn't work that out when we were playing, whether it was or wasn't.
But which, you know, is fine because the map that they're giving you even in early access is massive. But if your whole point is to explore the map and to learn more what's beyond, you know, what you can see, once again, that's a really shallow way of playing it. So I enjoyed all 3 elements of this game. I just didn't think there was enough to it to kind of put extra time into it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. And maybe this is to the game's, I don't know, constructive criticism, or maybe it's the way we were playing it. I missed out on our second of 3 streaming sessions of this game because I was having computer troubles. And I came back to this and Joey said, oh, the factory's been upgraded a bit. And I felt like, and maybe this is me putting on my Factorio hat and understanding what each component of a factory does. Because all the components of a factory in this game look relatively similar to each other, I found I had to I wasn't able to just go, okay, this does this, this does this, this does this. I had to understand seemingly what every single component of the factory is. Whereas I feel like in something like Satisfactory or Factorio, which I know we've mentioned them a lot, but those 2 are like the big 2 of the factory genre. I can look at a factory and go, okay, this is for this and this is for this at a glance. I go, great, I can improve it this way, or oh, that's how that works. Cool.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The machines, because maybe it's another thing of how far we got in the game. All of the mining, smelting, furnacing were all done in the same machines for the 3 primary things that we were getting minerals for. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't a lot of differentiation between it. We did remedy that, Tim, by tearing the whole fucking thing down.
Yep. And basically starting over.
Yeah. I think I don't want to sound too negative. It's a good game, and it's a really good game in early access. I have a lot of faith that Creepy Jar, who make it, will do some really interesting things with it. They're already putting out major patches. They're already adding loads of extra content and have done a couple of times since the game launched. And these are the guys that did Green Hell, which is really, really deep and really clever and a well put together game. So every faith that, you know, it will be good. Maybe we need to revisit it when it becomes 1.0. I don't know.
The thing is, as well, it's very clearly singing from the Satisfactory hymn book. Satisfactory's got the exact same loop of you've got 3, maybe 4 major base materials that you pull out of the ground. You refine them, you smelt them down, you refine them into certain parts. You refine that part into another part. So you take your titanium bars, turn them into titanium rods. You turn titanium plates into whatever you might have. I mean, there's a lot more variation in Satisfactory in that it's a lot of things like screws and plates and wires and bits like that. And when you're putting things together and you're looking at the recipes for, say, an engine, you're looking at it and you're going, right, that is wires, bars, screws, and plates. That makes sense for an engine. This is a bit sort of like, oh, well, it's a plate and a bar and it makes powder.
Yeah.
But, like I say, it's clearly singing from the Satisfactory hymn book. I think if they continue going down that path of following sort of in factory Satisfactory's footsteps without directly copying them, they're going to do fine.
Yeah, I think this game will do well. It's clearly a work in progress. As Joey said, they're putting out major patches already to address community concerns, to add things, to change things, and that's all really good. It's positive development. I just don't think it's quite ready yet. It probably just needs a little more time.
It's definitely early access.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about the story. This won't take long. You wake up in a ship on a planet, I did note it down, Arcadia 7, and you are told to go out into the world and discover Arcadia 7. And then the sun explodes.
The end.
And spiders hit you. And that's it, really. That's the whole story. Now, you come across bases of settlers that have been there before, that have been either burnt alive or eaten by spiders, and you kind of get bits and bobs out of their computer terminals. It's all very samey. It's all very like, help me, I'm stuck here, and they betrayed us, the corporation. You're not here for the story. If you want a really story-rich game, go play something else. But there's a lot to like in this game. You don't need the story to do that. What were you going to say? Sorry, Alex.
I was just going to say, we keep drawing Satisfactory comparisons, which is to be expected. One thing this does better than Satisfactory is multiplayer, because I don't know if either of you have ever done Satisfactory's multiplayer. It's very fucking boring if there's more than two of you, because, I mean, we did it in the past with a friend of ours, Tim, and it ended up being you two were sort of sharing in doing the factory, and I was kind of just sat with my thumb up my arse because there wasn't much else to do. Whereas the three, and I don't want to speak for you two, but when we were playing the three of us, you two seemed pretty happy building the base together and working things out. I fucked off and went and killed spiders for 2 hours and came back like, look at all this stuff I've brought. Well,
this is what Joe was saying earlier, though, was that there is something that really players of most genres will be able to do in this game. It's just how deep does that line run?
Not terribly at the minute, but
the factory's the deepest bit, far and away. But I think that's
which you'd hope in a factory
by
sim.
Design. But you're playing a factory game. Like it's like saying, oh yeah, there's a good amount of arcade games in my fighting game, but the fighting games are the important bit. Like, yeah, of course it is. It's a fucking fighting game. This is a factory game. You're here to do automation and optimize and build things. So yeah, the factory's going to be the big bit, but maybe there's someone who wants to build bases. I know Kane, when she plays games, likes building bases.
I think that this is a game that you play with other people, and then you have stories to tell those other people within the game. So you could be like essentially playing two separate games entirely along with the people that you're playing with. So, for example, when we first started, you guys kind of got the factory mechanic really quickly. I think because you played Satisfactory. I've never actually played it. And I didn't. And that was fine because I just went off and was like, oh, I wonder how big this map is. And I found hordes of spiders that I found out you can run away from, and they chase you for a very, very long time. But when I came back, you guys had built this really cool start to a factory that we could build upon, which was great. And then, like Alex said, when I kind of understood the factory side of it, Tim and I were building and trying to make a factory more efficient than it was. And Alex was like, "Oh, I've just found a crashed rocket here. There's stuff in the terminal. Oh, there's loot on the ground here." And I think going and stitching all of that together is not an easy thing in a game, especially. So I'm going to draw a comparison to a game, Tim. I don't think you've played yet, but Alex, you know when we played Subnautica 2?
Mm-hmm.
That is how this feels in the way that it plays, right? So when we played Subnautica 2, completely the opposite. Alex was really happy building the base, and Chris and I were really happy exploring. Now, the downside of this is, in Subnautica 2, there's much more of a story. So when Chris and I had done exploring and came back and Alex had made this really cool base, we had discovered loads of areas, but we'd also uncovered loads of the story that Alex missed out on. So I think in having a... Can you hear the geese behind me?
I can.
They're getting in on it. They're going, good game, good game. I've lost my train of thought now. In having a story that is kind of non-existent and allowing you to make your own story with these other gameplay ways of playing, I think it worked really well together. I think it just made for a like sort of water cooler style game. And what I say there is you come up away and you've got a different story than the next person who also played the same game. But you have that kind of water cooler style, but within the same game that you're playing as everyone else.
Yeah. I do love a water cooler game.
Yeah. Well, Skyrim is the ultimate water cooler game.
Oh, yeah. That and Breath of the Wild.
Don't know about that. But yeah. What was your favourite part of the game?
I mean, it was deeply satisfying to when we tore down the factory and started over, because I was like, do you know what? We have all these new tools and toys available to us. We have a better idea of what we're doing. We know what the goal is now. Let's build smartly. That to me was probably the favorite thing. That and also how fucking cool the sun exploding looks.
We should talk about that in a minute. Alex, what was your favorite bit of the game?
And it'll lead on to what you want to talk about. My favourite part was the planetary cycle. So in the span of 45 minutes, you'll spend half an hour running around a fairly nice, quite lush, vibrant planet, finding all these plants. Ooh, look at this plant. Ooh, look at this plant. Why can't I get in that overgrown bit? How do I get in there? Oh, well, I'll forget about it for now. Hum-de-dum-de-dum. And then the game goes, wave warning, the sun's about to explode. And then there is a frantic panic of, oh shit, because it doesn't give you... It gives you a warning of the sun's becoming unstable, and you've got about a minute, and then it goes 15 seconds. That is it. And then you have this frantic panic of either building a base where you are, and to get in, you have to slap down 3 buildings pretty quickly, which, with, as Tim has mentioned, the bugginess of the building mechanics sometimes can be a little bit daunting. And then you get inside your base and you watch the sun explode. So the sun explodes. There's all these cool wavy clouds, and then there's plumes of smoke and fire. And then,
it's like a wall of fire that comes flying at you.
Yeah. And then the entire environment outside is just black and on fire. And you have to stay in your building for... It's got to be about 2 minutes before it becomes stable again. And then you go outside and it's a completely different world. It's ashen, it's grey. You can't get any of the plants because they've all been burnt. All the water sources have evaporated. But now, certain plants have cracked open their outer shell and you can get the materials inside. You can get down into hidden dungeons and things like that. And I just think... And then you've got to, as Tim said before again, you've got to go for 10 minutes without power. Or 5 minutes, however long it is, while the sun comes back to life. And I think it's just... They could have made a factory game where there's no environmental thing like that. Satisfactory doesn't have environmental cycles like that. But what it did was add such a cool mechanic and a real way for them to go, right, this is a different game for the next 10 minutes. Good luck. And obviously it gets, I don't want to say it gets samey, but it is the same cycle. So the novelty wears off. It's still cool to look at. It's really cool to look at, but it's a lot less panic the fourth, fifth, sixth time. I would love to see them have different environmental hazards happen.
My concern with that would it be too random?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the thing with the cycle with the start of the sun exploding is a really cool one. I mentioned before you have to be worried about power with it because the sun's gone. That you can't. Your primary source of power in this game is solar power. So if the sun is gone, you have no electricity, unless you sort out another method like a wind turbine, for example, or a hydro farm or whatever. But the point is, you have to work towards those. And to me, the sun exploding is a way of limiting that progression, so you don't just beeline for something like, for a wind farm or something.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think they will add other environmental stuff because it's called Star Rupture, and the point is that the star is rupturing.
I just think it would be cool I think it'd be cool that if every so often the star ruptured, and rather than it becoming grey and ashen, it all froze over.
Yeah, could do that. That'd be cool. I think that, obviously the star exploding is the kind of the headline act.
Pièce de résistance.
The pièce de résistance. Every time when we were streaming, if anyone new came and they were like, "Oh, what's this game?" we were like, "Oh, it's a factory sim with FPS elements." But just you wait, and every
Stick
time
around for 20 minutes.
People were like, "That is really cool." Our friend Josh from Talking Smack likened it to Terminator 2 and the flashback to when the machines come, and it is exactly like that. It's cool. Very cool. My favourite thing was another thing that Josh pointed out was the environmental storytelling. All the trees in Star Rupture are bent at 90 degrees, and it's in the direction that the sun has exploded. So whilst everything goes back to kind of the exact way it was before the sun exploded, and the trees do kind of make leaves again, but their trunks, tree trunks are bent away from the direction of the sun because the rupture and the shock wave knocks them that way. I just thought that little level of detail is very, very cool.
That's some environmental storytelling straight out.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. It was really cool. Anything else you guys want to highlight on Star Rupture?
There's a class system, kind of.
I didn't get the class system at all.
I don't think it's currently implemented.
I don't think it is, no.
There's a class system where you can play as an engineer, a scientist, a soldier, and someone else. Don't remember who.
Biologist?
John.
Sure? John. Yep, John. So
Big
you
John.
Can play as Big Johns and make pizzas in space.
That's Papa John's.
No,
Big John's the guy that goes Bosh.
No, he makes pizzas in Birmingham.
Yeah, but we're talking about the Bosch guy.
The point is, there is clearly some sort of class system going where the soldier's going to be better at like combat, and the engineer's going to be better for factory stuff, and the scientist is going to be better for research or something. But it's just not implemented yet. So all you've got at the moment here is a couple of quippy one-liners from each of the characters that you can play as.
Yeah. I did actually. I was going to ask because Alex, you mentioned at the very start, single player versus multiplayer in this game. What differences? Because I understand in the single player there's a tutorial, but from what I've heard, the tutorial is not very good.
I mean, the tutorial is basically go here, mine a meteorite heart, build base, build basic factory.
That's it.
That's it. It teaches you. The one thing it does teach you that we didn't pick up to begin with was the cargo rockets, because the tutorial makes you build a cargo rocket.
Do you want to explain what a cargo rocket is?
Cargo rockets. So there's five corporations that I'm not going to try and name, but they each have a different speciality. So one of them specializes in factory optimization, so like the rail system and things like that. One specializes in your combat prowess. One specializes in research and food and so on and so on. The gameplay loop, the reason you're on Arcadia 7 is, and the reason you're refining these materials is to send them off planet back to Earth, because Earth is in a resource deficit. So you've been sent here to go and mine this and send it back to Earth. So you earn points as you do that with these different factions. When you get enough points, the faction goes, right, here's how to build personal storage. Here's how to build fabricator, things like that. It's an unlock system for buildings.
It's a glorified upgrade skill tree.
Yes.
Right. Which I think is fair.
And what you can do is you can find research points out in the world, and you can use those research points to upgrade these. You're standing with these factions, or you can link your cargo rockets to your factory and send specific materials up as a way of sort of passive income for these factions, which we did not learn when we were playing multiplayer.
The other thing that I've heard isn't included in the tutorial is something that quite annoyed me at the start of our playthrough. The hunger and thirst aspect of this game.
I hate. So I don't like survival crafting games for the most part. This, I think, single-handedly puts this into the survival crafting genre as well, because you're surviving and crafting. And man, oh man, oh man, if there's one thing I hate in survival crafting, it is hunger mechanics. I think they are so fucking boring and just get in the way.
Yeah, I think it would have benefited from having something to say, turn that off.
Yeah,
and which it might do. It might be something, because obviously custom gameplay styles take a bit of work to build into a game for balancing. I think it is a bit much, because you've got your health, you've got your stamina, you've then also got your hunger, your thirst, and your poison. You have 5 things that you are monitoring, or that you have to be aware of. And if you eat certain foods, it's going to increase it's going to recover some of your hunger, but it's also going to cause you some degree of poisoning.
Yes.
Which is to push you to build better food recipes and get the food station so that you can eat food without it slowly killing you. I think the survival mechanic is fine, the hunger, but I think it should have been combined. It shouldn't be hunger and thirst. It should have just been one sort of, wellness.
A wellness meter. Right.
Something like that.
Let's talk about scores, guys. So our scores are broken down into... Alex, what's the first one?
Gameplay.
Tim, what's the second?
Story.
And the third is audio and visual. So, we'll start with gameplay. Tim, what did you think of the gameplay?
I thought it was good. I don't think it was great.
Yeah.
I mentioned it earlier when Joe was saying how there's something for everyone, but the lines don't go so deep. It's a mile wide and an inch deep in places. There are obviously some places where it's a lot more developed, but to me, it has me a little concerned about the areas that it is also trying to get into. I'm going to go with, and this is going to sound harsh, a 6 out of 10. And the reason I say that is because I would say 5 out of those 6 points are absolutely the factory. But the one is kind of the basicness of everything else you can do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. So
Definitely.
6 out of 10 for me.
Alex? Gameplay.
This is very clearly the beginning stages of them developing this game. As Joey has said before, I have every faith that they're going to add a lot more. They've given themselves a really, really good baseline to work from. They've established the resources. They've established upgrade trees. They've established how everything is going to work. I would like to see customizable options to, make your factory look different, have different sections of different colors. I would like to see more in the weapons. I would like to see custom armor and things like that. Stuff that would make the combat more interesting, because as you say, it is just there's some spiders, shoot it with machine gun for a bit. So yeah, it's a really solid base, and I hope they keep adding to it, make that mile-long pool a bit deeper. I would give it a 6.5 on gameplay.
Okay, cool. I think gameplay, whilst I did the whole thing of quite shallow gameplay loops, I do think that all of them are done okay. Tim said it right. The factory is definitely the deepest bit. I went into it expecting the factory to be the deepest bit. I did go in there expecting the combat to maybe be a little bit tighter, a little bit more frenetic, and more Helldivers, really.
Yeah.
But largely, I got what I expected. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
I kind of feel like my 6 is a bit harsh. I might go up to a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go 7.
That's all your choice. Alex, talk to me about the story.
There isn't much, and it relies very heavily on environmental storytelling in terms of finding audio logs and video logs and terminals of these past civilizations. So the story in a nutshell is this corporation has sent people to Arcadia 7 before you. They will probably be sending people after you. So you can find remnants of these old stations, which can teach you certain things, like, these bugs cause radiation, stay away from them, that type of thing. But it's not that it's badly written, it's just quite generic for the genre. It's the same kind of story that you would hear in Helldivers, Starship Troopers, even things like Alien. Mm-hmm. It's that same kind of story of, we've gone here not understanding what's here, we've been destroyed, let's keep sending people until we figure it out.
Fair enough.
But it is very surface level, but you're playing a factory sim game, you are not there for the story. But I can't really give it anything more than a 5 on the story, just because, I mean, the whole, and most of maybe a 6 actually, purely the 6, I'm bumping it up a little bit, purely based on the environmental cycle, because really it falls into story a little bit, and I think it's a nice, unique mechanic.
6 out of 10. Cool. Tim?
I'm going to be harsh here. Yeah, you're not here for the story. And while I love me some environmental storytelling, I think when it's done well, it's done really, really well. And while I can appreciate details like the trees being bent, like Joey mentioned, away from where the star rupture happens, it's not really enough for me. I think the story is basic. I don't think you can really call finding audio and visual logs that are just text telling you the story. I don't think you can call that.
No, there's audio logs.
Yeah, I know there's audio logs, and I know, but the point is that I wouldn't be able to go into, like, I don't know, let's say Skyrim, for example. Lots of environmental storytelling, or better yet, Fallout. One that I'm more familiar with. You can see the remnants of towns that have been hit by nukes. You can see where the blast was. You can see, what people were doing in their homes at the time. That's all environmental storytelling. Me finding an audio log or a text log on a computer, that's not environmental storytelling. That's just storytelling. I don't think I could, in good faith, go above a 3.5 on this one. But that's fine. That's fine. It's like the lightest 3.5 because I'm not there for the story. I'm I'm there to build a factory.
Okay. I have given it a 6. And I think I've given it a 6 because although the story is mega basic, quite generic, I think that's what this game demanded. I think that whilst it's not a great story, it is the story that fits well with this style of game. And sometimes I think what you don't put in is as effective as what you do put in. So I'm going to say 6 out of 10. And finally, audio and visual.
Joey,
I'll start with this. Great minds. You should be worried, Tim.
You
all
good,
right?
Alex?
Yeah, I just threw my phone across my desk.
Okay.
Hate the idea of Joey going first.
9, you fucker. The audio was fine. Where this really shines is the visual. The game looks great. The guns, the mining tool look brilliant. They have ways of telling you that you're running out of ammo or overheating. The star of the show is the sun exploding. And the way that looks and feels never really got boring, which we played this for 10 hours on stream, and I think something that happens every half hour that kind of debilitates you for a couple of minutes probably would get annoying most of the time, but it never did here. It always was like, hell yeah, the sun's exploding again. Hell yeah, get to watch it. Hell yeah, the changes to the map. And
it's an action hellscape. Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. So 9 out of 10 is what I gave it.
Good.
Alex,
do you want to
go? Audio visual, yeah. I forgot what we were talking about for a minute there. Yeah, I mean, it's everything Joey said, and like obviously there's interpersonal quips and conversations between the corporation's AI and the other characters. Even when you're in single player, the characters still talk to each other. All of the audio notes and everything that you find are fully voiced, and they're voiced well. Game like this, you would expect the voice acting to probably be really quite low on the pecking order, but they seem to have put some time into it and really they've found a soldier who sounds like a soldier. They found a scientist who sounds like a weedy little nerd. Things like that. They've put a bit of thought into it. They're not just gone, oh, Dave, are you free next week to pretend to be a soldier? And obviously, as you said, the sun exploding, phenomenal. That amount of special effects as well, and that amount of environmental change all of a sudden, because it's a complete rewiring of the shaders. You would expect something like that to chug the system a bit. This game runs perfectly smooth. There is not a single optimization issue in this. And I'm going to give the audiovisual 8.
Nice. Tim.
I'm also going to go with an 8. Like Joey said, the audio is fine. The voice acting is fine. And as someone who's a big old audio nerd and has a degree in audio engineering in film and TV,
yeah,
there was a phrase that was going around our lecturers at the time at uni, which was audio makes up half your picture. And for a thing that's fine, it's clearly in early access. It's clearly going to be worked on, but it just is what it is right now. However, the visuals, like Joey said, it's just they're good. They're really good. It's the only thing I would maybe say is I mentioned this kind of earlier, is I would like to see a little more distinction between the units of the factory, because right now they all look kind of similar to each other, which I get is probably by design, so it looks like one big cohesive factory, but it's very hard to tell what's actually happening in your factory, how to diagnose things, or how to better understand things in your factory at a glance. And that kind of visual language is really important in a factory game. That being said, as Joey said, star of the show, the sun exploding, those flames engulfing the map, which are obviously a very clever way of hiding the swap out of the world's textures turning to ash. But you know what? It looks awesome. Like, I dedicated an entire room in our base, just filled it with windows so we could watch the flames roll in every single time, because it was just cool. Like, it almost happened in waves. Like, the sun would get bigger and the world would start to turn red, and you'd start to see things heat up, and then the sun would explode, and then there'd be fire, and then the world would be like way more red and everything's on fire, and then suddenly it's just like almost a quiet dark while the world is ash. And it's awesome. It's so well done.
Yeah, I agree. So that my scores combined gives me a 7.5. Alex, what do you have?
6.83.
We'll call it a 6.8. Tim?
I got a 6.16 recurring.
We'll call it a 6.2. So that leaves us with Star Rupture on our Game Club pod score, 6.8 out of 10, which isn't a bad score, especially for a game in early access that's going to come with more stuff.
No, and like I said, that's 3.5 I gave it. It's a very light 3.5. Like, it sounds like it's like, oh, it's a garbage story. It's just that there isn't much of a story, and equally that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love for us to go back to this on stream when it releases in 1.0.
Yeah, big time.
Good.
Big time.
I'm just having a look at their roadmap now.
Don't know when it is.
They're in space. There's no roads.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Right, so there's no dates on this roadmap, but there's ongoing improvements for gameplay performance, building mechanics, combat mechanics, world, and UI UX.
Perfect.
They're going to be adding wildlife. They're going to be extending the map. New weapons, new resources, new buildings, new forgotten engine, building features, combat. Coming in 1.0 version, which again, there is no date. There is going to be Frostwave.
Nice.
Which is what I wanted. There's going to be a new biome. There's going to be an actual end game. There's going to be more story elements, and they're going to add achievements.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah,
that's
we will
the makings of
definitely.
a good game.
We'll definitely go back at 1.0.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for stopping by, listening to our review of Star Rupture. Thanks again to our friends over at Terminals and Creepy Jar for a copy of the game for review purposes. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
And from me, God bless, and we'll see you next time.